Oh, baby. Welcome back to Life of the Germ. I'm your host, Jeremy, and we got a little album of the week. The Stones. Rolling Stones, Let It Bleed. A little throwback back in the day. I have a lot of music a lot of records that I bought because I know a couple songs off the album, but this is like back in high school, like this album for example. But like now I'm at the point in my life where I'm like, yeah, I've heard like the radio hits and whatnot, and now I just kind of throw these albums on and just see like what are the other like hidden gems on this album, and just kind of see where it goes. But um, yeah, I haven't really gotten a good chance to listen to that one yet, so I got a little pile of laundry sitting on my bed over here that I'm gonna quietly, because it's like 10, um, turn on a record and just kind of see where it goes. So kind of excited for that. One, I don't think I come in on here with glasses a lot, so what up? I wear glasses, I wear contacts. Now you know. Two, sorry if I'm low energy tonight. I've had like quite a long day, and also daylight savings was a couple days ago, so I'm just kind of, oh my god, this is like the most frustrating thing ever. I like woke up this morning and I set my alarm the night before, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna wake up at 6, and like I ended up like exercising tonight, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna like not exercise in the morning, get a bunch of like work stuff done in the morning. I'll have like an extra hour. Um, Set my alarm only to realize that like it was the only clock in the house that like it wasn't shifted an hour forward. So then I woke up. 6 was actually 7, which if I don't work out in the morning, that's when I wake up. So I like get to work just at 9, and I was like, dude, I was like, that sucks. So I didn't end up getting as much done as I wanted to, but it is what it is. I mean, I got an extra hour of sleep. I went snowboarding with my buddy Brady. Shout out Brady. We this is kind of a funny story. We so I had this big presentation on Wednesday, and I wanted to celebrate, so I just kind of took the weekend off to like just cut loose, and like I was getting to the point where I was like, yeah, I'm definitely getting a little like just low motivation, low energy in terms of work. So I was like, yeah, let's do something for me, and went for a hike on Saturday, which is really good. And oh, this is something I was gonna mention, is that me and my friends like have this debate in Denver as to whether skiing slash snowboarding is better than hiking. And I went on this hike on Saturday by myself, and I sort of realized when I went on it, it's kind of like comparing apples to oranges, because like snowboarding, you get this like crazy adrenaline rush, right? And that's something that like you don't get in hiking, right? But it's like a different kind of free. Obviously snowboarding, you feel free too when you're just like cruising down the mountain and stuff. But um in summary, where I was going with this is that like hiking is just, I mean, it's for me, it's not even close. Like hiking just blows it out of the water. Like, and maybe it's because I'm not like amazing at snowboarding yet. Like going on blacks are still like fairly difficult for me. Like I end up like I can make it down, but it's like I'm like sweating by the end of it, and it's like I'm breathing heavy, and I like at least went on my butt a couple times. So it's like I'm not at the point where I can like, I mean, I can rip any blue for sure, but like and I can rip blacks, but it's not like I'm like a like it's not like it's effortless, right? Like so I'm at the point where I don't think I'm fully there yet with snowboarding, so maybe that's part of it. But I don't know, hiking, especially solo hikes. I haven't went on a solo hike in like so long. I think like now I just have a good amount of people I can reach out to, where like I would I would have to like go out of my way to go on a solo hike. And that's what I did on Saturday. One of my friends, like she couldn't go, and I was like, I'm not even gonna ask anyone else because this is just a sign that I need to get out there by myself. And it was so good. I got to process a lot of thoughts, just think about some stuff, and like you're just like out in nature, just hanging out, which is just amazing. I really like that. But um, yeah, went snowboarding the day like the day after my hike or like the night of kind of. So Denver's weird because like you either to get on the slopes by 8:30, which is when the lifts start, 8:30 in the morning, you would think, oh, you know, it's an hour and a half drive, we'll wake up at 6 and go, but like that's exactly what everyone else thinks. And Denver's really lame. If my biggest rip on Denver, and I think a lot of people can agree, is just there's one highway in the into the mountains and one highway out of the mountains, and that's I-70, and it's just don't even bother going on the highway at 6 a.m. on a Saturday or Sunday because you are just screwed. And same for rush hour, obviously during the week, but I mean it's just it's just terrible. It's just what should be an hour and a half drive turns into a 3 hour drive like that. And I'm not even saying that that's the worst of it, right? Like 3 hours, you're like, especially rush hour, you're like, praise God, you know, like it could have been so much worse. Like, I mean, so yeah, me and Brady, we were fed up. Steamboats, we went to Steamboat. Steamboat's like a 3 hour drive, and we were like, okay, like 3 hours, and you know, it's like one of the further resorts away. So we're like, we're gonna have to go through all that other traffic if we try to leave at like you. I mean, you gotta if you want to like avoid traffic, you literally have to wake up, pack the car, and leave by like 4. It's just absurd, absolutely absurd. So we're like, I don't really want to do that. So we're like, let's leave Saturday night, which I liked way more. We left that night, no traffic whatsoever. We were just booling. Like, night drives are just so much better in my opinion. And then we got there, it was probably like 11:30, and the big lot, there's always like big free parking lots where you can park and then they'll like shuttle you to the mountain. And the big lot said on it like no overnight parking, and there was like literally one car that just had a ticket that was like will tow whenever, and we were like, what are the odds that people even know we're here? So we parked right next to that car, and like also like I don't even know if people care, like we weren't causing trouble or anything, we just parked in the lot, we were literally the only car, like I said, and then we just car camped, and it was, I mean, I don't know. Car camping isn't glamorous by any means. Like if you can't get comfortable in that seat, I mean, it's gonna be a long night for you. And it started off warm, and then we woke up at like 2, and it was just freezing. We brought stuff, but it was just kind of my nose was just like numb. It was really like a weird feeling, but it only got to like the like teens for temps, so it wasn't like, you know, you're gonna get frostbite or anything. Like literally every other part of my body was warm. Um, but yeah, then we woke up at like 6, which was daylight saving, so we got an extra like one less hour of sleep, which was just miserable because it was already crap sleep. But yeah, and we had a little grill out in the parking lot, and then got like a solid like 4 or 5 hours of snowboarding in. And then yeah, we got hit with some traffic on the way back, but again, it was only like 45 minutes. Like what was a 3 hour drive was like maybe a 4 hour drive. So like we're like, again, like praise God, because we left a little early, because you just if you leave when the lifts close, I mean you are screwed. Like you will, that would have been a 5 hour drive. I have no doubt about it. Like but you know, we made it back around like I think 5. And dude, something about when you can just have your Sunday night, you just cook up a little dinner, especially in the summer, and like you go outside, eat it outside, you just like hang out. It's just such a vibe. And that's what I did, and just kind of like prep for the next week, and then here we are. So yeah, I think it's really for me kind of the final push for year 2 of PhD. I mean, it's all kind of culminating to this big exam that I have in mid-May, which I'm like not exactly looking forward to. Like I can just like see that I have a lot of work to do between like now and then, and it's gonna be a grind. But at this point now, it's kind of like finals week in college. If you guys have have taken some of these finals, like it's just like it's kind of nice because your list is literally like finals week. I always thought was nice because it's like you have four exams, right? And you know, like you're gonna do the first one and then get ready for the second, and it's just like there's four boxes on that checklist instead of like you're going in all these different directions. Like you have all this different stuff you have to do, right? It's just like no, like I gotta pass this exam. I know the things I gotta do. I gotta study. I gotta read. I gotta write, and that's it, you know. And it just in my mind it just feels a lot more clear. Like there's not all this noise. Like I know what I'm gonna do, right? Um, so yeah, I mean that's kind of where I'm at with things. I know I'll get through it, and it'll work out the way it should. You know, I don't you know I'm obviously gonna give it my all, and we'll just see what happens. You know, literally the last exam of my life. Like I don't, at least for school, like I'll never take another exam again. So like I might as well go out with a bang. You know, but wisdom of the week, getting into that. Realize a little. I was just looking it up because I'm pretty sure you guys have been familiar with this like phrase, which I never really fully understood what it meant, but it was like realize, realize, realize. And I don't know if you could hear my pronunciation there, but basically just like getting at the fact that like Tupac Shakur I think came up with this, just getting at the fact that like real eyes realize real lies, like you know, like you're lying to someone, right? um just getting at the fact that like opening your eyes to who's being fake with you and who's kind of being real with you. And I think a previous episode I've talked about that, which isn't really what I'm gonna get into. If you want to check that out, I think it's energy slash something. I forget what the title of it is exactly, but one of the parts of the title is called energy, and I talk about that. um Kind of realizing when people are being fake with you, and like just being like knowledgeable of that, right? Because that's important information that you have to know. But for this, realize, why I put in parentheses with eyes is because I think a lot of I'm more so talking about like change in your life, like making changes in your life all kind of come down to the first step. I never forget, like I had this speech class in high school, and there was this really cool graphic that we learned. We actually like I learned a lot of cool stuff in that course, like which I didn't expect because it was like a speech course. Like I just didn't really think that that was, and like everyone got tricked into the idea that like we needed this for like otherwise the rumor in high school is like if you don't take it in high school, you're gonna have to like go up in front of hundreds of people in like college and like give a speech, and like that's just not true at all. At least I didn't have to do that. But I took the course, but then when it transferred to college, it was like literally a general elective. Like it didn't transfer to speech. So like that was just cap. That was all cap. But I will say I'm kind of glad I fell for that rumor because I got to like give some really cool like presentations in that course. Like I'm really glad I took that course in high school. And um but one of the graphics the teacher threw up there was like it had like four stages of like implementing a new habit or something like that. And it was like and it's crazy because we got tested on this, but I like remember it because I thought it was really cool. Um it was like unconscious is the first one, which is like something about making a change. The first step is you're unconscious to it. So you don't even realize that you're doing it. And maybe if you did know you realized it, you would make the change. But since you don't even know that it's there, you don't even think about making the change, right? Then stage two is um I think like conscious. I'm just gonna make the names up because I don't exactly remember what it was, but like I would say like conscious resistance is what I would describe it as. So like you know it's a problem, but you're so unwilling to change that you're like, no, I don't care. I'm not going to change. I know it's there, but I'm just going to deal with whatever it is, right? 3 is like active conscious. So like you know it's a problem and you're actively trying to improve upon it. And then the last one is just like, I don't know, we'll just call it like accomplishment. Like you see the change, you made the changes that were required to like enforce that change in your life, right? But I'm more so trying to get at the stage 1, which I think is the most dangerous, because if you don't have like really good friends, and I do. So shout out to the homies watching this that have like helped me out. But if you don't have really like close friends that you can just hit up, or they just be straight up with you and just are like, Jeremy, I'm gonna be honest here, you're like kind of being a dick right now, you know, like, or just like something like that, or like, Jeremy, you know, I'm gonna be honest, you're not really listening to me right now, like things like that, where it's just like someone that's not as close with you, like, it is gonna like feel bad and not even gonna mention it. And it's kind of just gonna fly under the radar, right? But like with the homies, like that'll actually tell you that stuff that kind of hurts at first, but they know in the long run is good for you. Like those are like the best people, you know. And it's I don't get at this to say like get good friends, but more so like to just be aware that, because I think a lot of people don't even understand that like you do things that maybe you don't like, but you don't even know that you don't like them. And maybe you don't even know that there is an alternative. And if you took that alternative, you would be so much happier, right? So, all this to say, and it's hard, right? Because in order to see those things, you A, have to have good friends, like I talked about, or B, you have to, you have to like, you have to take some time for yourself sometimes to really like step back and get this bird's eye view and kind of like hyper analyze yourself a little bit to see like everything that you do, all the habits that you have, everything that you're doing, where you're at in life. You really want to make sure that all those things the things that you want. And if they're not, then I think that's how you kind of figure out what are the things that you gotta like really hone in on. And you're like, ooh, I actually don't like that. I didn't even realize that I don't like that, but I don't like that way, like that I cope with this, or the way that I, do this in the morning, and then because that's what I really find is that not always, but I feel like when I finally become aware that these things are not things that I like to be doing and I want to change them, then it becomes so easy just to kind of make those changes happen. But getting to that point can be the tough part, like filling that void with, oh wait, this is not, I don't like this, right? So yeah, I mean that's kind of the nutshell of things. And I think if anyone listening to this has like an idea of how to like become more aware of these things that you don't necessarily like, but you're not even aware that you don't like them, like let me know, because I think I have so many of those in my life, and it's funny because I don't even know I have them, right? I just get the sense that I do, and but I just always do them and I don't even think about them, right? And it's just like, dang, if someone could just come down and give me a list of like 30 things where they're like, I don't think you like these things, right? And then they like, I'd be like, oh, word, I actually hate all these. Yeah, like let me make those changes, right? Like that'd be amazing. But I think part of it's also what popped into my head is like goal setting, right? Like I think if there's something you want to accomplish, like just write it down, right? But I think it's like current things that you have in your life, right? It's not, goals are usually something that you're like, again, to set a goal, you have to know what the goal is to begin with. And you know that it's like something you want to achieve, right? Sometimes you don't even know what you want to achieve. So can be difficult, but I'm trying to get better about goals. I think I used to do goals too much, where like early Life of the Germ, if you go back, the ones that are only on Spotify, like, dude, like the first few, I remember I would in college, just because I had a lot of time to think. I think I was always like, I was so, and I still am, but not as much now. Like back then, I used to always be like, how do I get better every week? Like, how do I improve myself every week? It was actually kind of cool, like thinking back on it now. And it's just like tiny, tiny changes every week. Like you make these little, but I'd write down like 7 or 8 of them. And, I'd keep this flashcard in my pocket. And whenever I'd forget, I'd open it out and be like, oh yeah, yeah, let's get it. And it'd be like social things or like, I don't even know. Just a lot of random things, like mindset things, like trying to stay positive. Right. And I would do it too much where I had like 8 goals and it was just overwhelming how much I was like I really, and then I found that just like focusing on one thing was like the best, because then you always knew like that week I just want to focus in on this, right, and try to get better at this one thing. But eventually I think it just, I don't even know when it died out. I think like after I graduated, I like that summer I was just kind of like, I just feel like living right now, and I think coming into grad school, I was like, I don't know, like this was so weird, but I was like, oh, I've like figured life out. Like I'm the perfect human. Like I do everything right, And it's like now looking at it, I'm like, I think this is why I say this episode is because I'm at the point now where maybe I don't exactly have the bandwidth like I did in college to be like thinking about this stuff very much, and I know there's things that maybe aren't the best for me, but like I'm having trouble trying to find what those are, because I think I'm just like thinking about other stuff all the time. So I don't know, just food for thought. Sometimes wisdom of the week isn't exactly wisdom, and it's more, I don't know, what would you call this? Like a lot of the wisdom is up to debate, right? There are multiple ways to look at things, and each way might speak to someone better than the other, right? Like, there might be, say, there's 2 ways to look at something that can both be beneficial depending on the person. Like, it's the same thing here. It's like that's why like philosophy and stuff is so cool to me, because it's it is so open to discussion. I love when someone like takes like a really, not a hardcore stance. Debating someone with like a set stance is so annoying, because it's like, no matter what you say, they're never even gonna like contemplate what you're saying. But like someone that's moldable and can actually see both perspectives, I'm like, this is actually a fun conversation because they're willing to at least consider what you have to say. That's why philosophy is so cool, because there's so many different ways to like look at it. And I take one way and they're like, well, the downside of that could be X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, oh, I never even thought of that before. But and then they say their point and I'm like, wait, I also see a lot of flaws in that too. So it's like nothing's perfect. It's always just a kind of a guessing game a little bit. But yeah, I'm getting really tired, so I think I'm gonna call it. But hope you guys enjoy this Life of the Germ. Uh, I think it'll be up by Tuesday, by tomorrow, not by 9 a.m. I'm not, no way, no chance I'm editing this before then. But tomorrow night, if I get some time to edit, I'll throw it up tonight, or tomorrow night, and then you guys can watch. So, thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Jeremy. March Madness coming soon. I'm hyped. I'm very hyped. Catch you later.